So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to deal with the topic strange meeting, and particularly its topic critical appreciation or critical analysis of the poem. The critical analysis. It is written by Wilfred Owen. Already we know that in the poem the horrors of the war and its futility is discussed. So it is the theme of the poem that the wars are futile. We know that wars are useless, and instead of making a hype of the glorification that one country receives, one nation receives after winning the wars, instead of that, here the horrors of war are explained. So now we are just going to deal with its critical appreciation. That is, we are analyzing or we are just appreciating. We are appreciating poet's work, his use of poetic devices, like how, in which way he is using the poetic devices. Many devices, like there are many poetic devices, as we already know, like metaphor, simile, and all. So, starting with it, so the poem is a vision or imaginary meeting. We already know that it is a vision, it is an imaginary meeting. The poet Wilfred Owens himself, as it is a poet persona. It is a poet persona, that poet himself is just poet himself is the part of the war. Poet himself is part of the poem. Part of the poem. Poet himself is part of the poem. So this is poet persona. So it is an imaginary meeting between poet persona, or we can say the British soldier and the German soldier. Between British soldier and the German soldier, and what are their relation? Now, from the starting of the poem, from the very beginning of the poem, we are not yet known about their relation. We are not clear that how they are interlinked with each other, or how, or why they are. The poet is just having that vision only. Why he isn't meeting any other soldier? Why only that particular German soldier came into his vision? So we'll come to know about the reason later. So it is a nightmare. We know nightmares, like they often occur at nights. The horror visions which we experience, they are just like our dreams, but they are very much, horror scenes. So, coming to the next literary devices, actually, I'm not giving the literary devices in a sequence. That from the starting of the war, I had intermixed all of the literary devices for the sake of clearance. So, you people can adjust accordingly, or you can note them down on a paper, and later you people can set it accordingly, or you people can write it on your books. So starting with the literary devices, so there are para rhymed couplets. The example is groined and groaned in the lines 3 and 4. So now we have to understand the meaning of the word para-rhymed couplets. What are para-rhymed couplets? Usually, as we got this example, that is groined and groaned, these both words are like very much like to each other when we pronounce, or when we just write them up. They are nearly very similar. Here is just the difference of a and difference of I. We pronounce, their pronunciation is generally similar to each other. So it is not a couplet that is rhyming completely, but it is a couplet that is rhyming That is rhyming in the sense the couplet is ending with like words. Like we are having some more examples in the book. So here, hall, hell, these are para-rhymed couplets. You're bestired and stared. They sound like to each other. Eyes, bless, now grained, ground, moan, mourn, ears, yours, wild, world, here, are, here. So these are just, we can say, the few examples. So you people will find many examples like spoiled, spilled, tigress, progress, mystery, mastery, world, walled, chariot wheels, sweet wells, taint, taint, stint, war, were, friend, frowned, killed, cold. So these are the examples. Like you people can see how beautifully there are literally the para rhymed couplets in like every paragraph, in every line there are the para rhymed couplets. So hope you people have understood the meaning of para rhymed couplets. So in, we can say, just critical appreciation, how we can write this down. So we can say that yet the rhyme is not having the poem is not having a perfect rhyming scheme, but it follows para rhymed scheme, para rhymed, but it is somewhat para rhymed. So you will explain the meaning of para rhymed and you will be giving the examples of para rhymed couplets. So the next is onomatopoeia. This is again an interesting literary device, guys. It is word that is used to represent the sound. Like we are just sometimes we use some words like the trickling of the water. The water is trickling from the roof. So that is, from that trickling we can imagine the sound of the water, croaking of the frogs, croaking sound of the frogs. So that is the case when we just imagine the sounds of different objects from that particular word, we get an idea that how that sounds. Like no guns thumped, flews made mourn. These are the these are the words that represent the sound. So this is your onomatopoeia. So you can highlight this literary device in the critical appreciation. So the next is your biblical allusion. Guys, this is the most important literary device of the poem, that is biblical allusion. So what is it that we'll be seeing from the book? That is, bless, lifting distressful hands as if to bless. The German soldier, he lifted his arms, he lifted his distressful hands. So here we can see it as a metaphor also, like hands, they can't be distressful because distressful is an human quality, but we had given it this quality to the hands which are non-living. So it is the metaphor, and the main thing here is the biblical allusion, as if to bless. He lifted up his hands as he was praying or blessing someone. Like he lifted up his hand in that way. It is an illusion that he lifted up his hand. Like we can imagine, we can well imagine, like when the people, the usually the Christians, what they do is they lift up their both hands like this. They lift up their both hands, and this means that they are praying to God, they are requesting to God. So from Bible, that is the word related to Christianity, Christianity, because this is more prevalent in the Christian Christian community, we can say. The next are the Titanic Wars. So Titanic Wars used in the very first paragraph, that is the third line, through granites which Titanic Wars had groined. So simply there is written the Titanic Wars, but it is carrying a very deep meaning. Now let's see how it carries a deep meaning. First, the literary device will pay attention to it. It is mythical allusion. So how this is a mythical allusion? Like we all know about Titanic. Titanic was a ship that remained sunk for 6 years. And who does not know about Titanic? So you people are already knowing about it. So it is symbolizing, it is mythical, it is symbolizing that Titanic was the victim of the war and all. But what was its end? टाइटैनिक, जो कि तबाही का एक वॉर की एक तबाही का कारण बन चुका था, लाइक विक्टिम बन चुका था तबाही का, लाइक हाउ द वॉर जस्ट destructed everything there inside the Titanic also, Titanic ship also inside the sea, under the sea, sorry. And so Titanic wars, the Titanic ship had destructed, but what it symbolizes, that war has destructed the giant ship, the Titanic ship, but what the country suffered from it, like how the country suffered, it remained sink in under the sea, and it had no effect over the winning country as well as the losing country, because it is sinking. No one paid attention over it, but it is a great symbol of destruction and devastation caused by the wars. So it is used in that way. So the next is paradox. So now we'll understand the meaning. What is paradox? Paradox is like when it is written here enemy as well as friend also. Enemy and friend. Can a person be enemy and friend to someone at same time? सेम टाइम पे कोई किसी का एनिमी और फ्रेंड हो सकता है? It's very common in today's era, but still we are no one to judge any bonds. चलिए, that was a lame joke. And can a person be enemy and friend of someone at the same time? That is no. So it is very paradox. Like we are giving the two very different, we are referring a person with two very different, very different adjectives at the same time. At the same time, we are using very opposite adjectives to describe someone or something. That is your paradox. So next, with this only, I'm just going to explain this first. That is oxymoron. What is oxymoron? That is combining the idea of strange and familiar together in single line. Idea of strange and familiar is combined. So it is just oxymoron. You people can also write that paradox also and oxymoron also. So next is alliteration. Alliteration बहुत ज़्यादा मिलेगी आपको poem में. So the one of the example is that is grieves in line 21. So the guys, pay attention to this irregular iambic pentameter. This is most important point from the style of the poem. What is iambic pentameter? So iambic pentameter. I'll be just giving a overview of it. Like when in a line there are words on which there are, we can say, syllables on which on the first part of the word we are putting on more emphasis rather than on the second part. Sorry, I repeat, on the first part we are putting less emphasis than we are putting on second part. किसी भी, like we are taking here a random word, holiday, holiday, holly, holly, हॉली पे क्या होता है, वी आर पुटिंग मोर एम्फोसिस ऑन द वर्ड हॉली. होली पे हम ज़्यादा एम्फोसिस पुट करते हैं रैदर देन ऑन डे. सो लाइक दिस, व्हेन वी आर पुटिंग मोर एम्फोसिस ऑन द सेकेंड पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ड rather than putting more on first, that is called iambic. Now, what is pentameter? When in a single line there are 5 such words on which, in which the emphasis is given much to the first part of the word rather than giving to the second. So this is a unique, quality of the poem, that it is written in form of elegy. What is elegy? It is it is a literary device that represents the sadness of a person, especially who has died. Like in the war, what Wilfred Owen had represented is the hopelessness and the sadness of the, sadness of the German soldier, who says that if he had lived long, then he could have, make many people, more people laugh, and also he would be just taking the very clear allusion of the war in front of the people, like how national politicians, how they are, or the national media, how they are representing the war versus what is the true nature of the war. So this was the critical appreciation of the poem. Hope you people found it easy, or you can say it was a bit symbolical, or you can say deep, but I'll try my level best to make it understand to you people. So I'll be picking up the random topics like the critical appreciation as well as the style and all that things in the next upcoming videos. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.